Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis, what did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals.
You heard it, a softer touch, but mission forward when it comes to illegal immigration enforcement. Those hardened criminals that the president was just talking about. The president also said he ordered 700 federal agents to leave Minnesota effective immediately. They left yesterday, plus DHS saying 2,000 will remain. DHS says federal agents have arrested some 4,000 illegal aliens in Minnesota since the launch of Operation Metro Surge late last year. And on removing the worst of the worst from America's neighborhoods, that remains the focus. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin tells Fox that murderers, pedophiles, rapists, gang members, and terrorists are among the illegals that so far they've arrested. Borders Czar Tom Homan here.
We got over 4,000 arrests. We depleted that target list. We're doing the right thing. We're having great success at it. We're not backing down at all. I said today mass deportations will continue. And I said, no, if illegal aliens are not off the table, look, the normal footprint here is less than 150 agents. We got 2,400 boots on the ground here, and we're going to continue to enforce the immigration law.
It is a crime to perpetrate and to tell people that you are law enforcement de facto, but here it is on full display. Some more of those checkpoints that the far left anti-ICE agitators continue setting up. They are again illegal. That is Minneapolis. They are targeting federal agents and impeding their operations. According to a new report, anti-ICE groups are planning to build as many as 1,000 of these checkpoints on busy streets and in residential areas. Can you imagine living there? And what is the information they're collecting? Well, they want the license plate. That gives you all sorts of information. This anti-ICE social media account shows a chilling poster in Minneapolis asking workers across many fields to hurt agents in multiple ways, like giving them food poisoning and secretly damaging their vehicles. It assures people you will get away with it, so they know it's a crime. So who's on tap to keep these people out of jail should they ever be arrested for what they're doing? Big question there. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy with more on this. Peter.
Harris, 1,000 activist or agitator-built roadblocks makes it sound like it could soon be pretty annoying to try to drive a car or a bus or a bike through the streets of Minneapolis. But the man in charge, Tom Homan, is not batting an eyelash, and he is revealing that ICE is just going to drive right through them.
The message to those folks, what are you doing? You really think you're going to stop an ICE and CBP from doing the job? It's a joke. Only people you're hurting is your own community who wants to go and get groceries, pick up the dry cleaning, or go to work, whatever. You're just hindering them. Stop. Stop.
A telling sign of cooperation between the Trump administration and the progressives in charge of Minneapolis, despite some headlines calling the withdrawal of 700 ICE officers a retreat. Tom Homan says it's not, and the Democratic Mayor Jacob Frey says it's not.
Obviously, there is a de-escalatory element if you are decreasing the number of agents that are on the street. That being said, when you have 2,000 agents that are still here, approximately 20 times that which we had prior to Operation Metro Surge, that, relatively speaking, no, is not a de-escalation.
And officials around here are clear. President Trump's comment about using a softer touch when it comes to enforcing immigration laws moving forward does not mean that they are going to stop with the mass deportations. The president sees that as an issue that got him reelected to the White House, so it's here to stay. Harris.
Peter Doocy, thank you very much. I want to bring in Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican of the great state of Tennessee. She's also running for governor of that great state. She sits on the Judiciary and Finance committees. Look, this is happening in other blue states, too, where this operation goes through. Yeah. Houston, I can think of, and a few others. And, of course, we saw in Washington, D.C., the Mayor Muriel Bowser and her team of law enforcement that she leads as mayor cooperated with ICE. So this is particularly troublesome, though, in Minneapolis. And it's happening in red states where it's going well, like Tennessee, Memphis.
That's right. That's right. And in Memphis, they have made 6,500 arrests. They have recovered 1,500 illegal firearms. They have found 148 missing children, and the crime rate is down over 50%. That's all in 100 days. That's what happens when you have your mayor, your police chief, local law enforcement working with federal agencies, the National Guard, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, making Memphis safe again. So there's a big difference there. And Harris, one of the things I've noted this week as I've looked at polling on this issue, the vast majority of Americans, you're seeing polling 64 to 78%. They want criminal, illegal aliens apprehended. They want them out of their communities, their cities, their states. They want them out of the country. They want to be safe again. So the Democrats are on the wrong side of this, and these anti-ICE protesters are on the wrong side of this. People want these violent criminals apprehended. They want them off the street. They support Secretary Noem. They support Tom Homan. They support the President of the United States.
Yeah, they're also on the wrong side of the law setting up checkpoints. Like, I don't know if the mayor or the governor in that state, I don't know if they have the stomach to do the right thing on that issue, but that is fraught with difficulties having people. I mean, it looks like what they push against that happened during World War II that they always accused Republicans of. I mean, that's what it looks like. They're checking points. What are they checking people's papers? It is a lot. The massive Minnesota fraud scandal is at the very heart of federal operations there in Minnesota. And in fact, it was the focus of a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing just yesterday. Lawmakers calling out the rampant, unchecked fraud. Billions of taxpayer dollars stolen, money meant to help needy families. Let's watch this.
A welfare system designed to uplift the most vulnerable children was treated like an open ATM.
Several of the child care facilities had signage which stated they were open either 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., Quality Learning Centers, for example, or open 24 hours. Who the heck brings their kid to stay overnight at a child care facility in a rough neighborhood? None of it made any sense. The leering misspelling was the final straw for me.
Is there any chance the elected Democrats in charge of the state were unaware of the fraud?
No.
Republican lawmakers want to know what Minnesota's Democrat leadership knew and when they knew it. Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison could shed some light on that question, I would imagine. They are set to testify before the House Oversight Committee next month. Senator, your reaction and what's next?
Yes, indeed. And I'm so pleased that President Trump has tasked Vice President Vance with leading an effort to have a deputy attorney general who is going to focus on fraud. And this is so appropriate because the fraud in Minnesota is probably up to $19 billion, is what we're hearing. And then Dr. Oz has uncovered all of this fraud in healthcare and hospice in California. And that is being investigated. We're getting reports. Every senator is getting reports about fraudulent activity, defrauding the state and federal government. So I have filed the Immigration and Nationality Act update. It's called the Fraud Accountability Act. Harris, it makes all fraud, regardless of whether it's against an individual, a local, state, or federal government. If you are in this country on a work visa, a green card, permanent residence, or naturalized as a citizen, this will trigger a denaturalization and deportation hearing for you. And it cleans up that. It makes all fraud something that is a felony offense. And people want to make certain their tax dollars are used wisely, and the GAO says between $230 billion, $530 billion is the level of fraud each year in our federal budget. And indeed, a former GAO said they thought it was as high as $750 billion. That is what we spend every year on Medicaid, and just $100 billion less than what we spend on the U.S. military. Harris, we have to root out this fraud. The U.S. taxpayer is being defrauded by these programs. Really do not exist. They're not doing anything for anybody. They're not delivering a service. And I think at the Leering Center, maybe that's where they learned how to lie and rip off the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, lie's a small word, but it's a big bad. Wow,
yes,
that was a lot. I wrote down some of those numbers. I had no idea in Minnesota. You said that you all are learning on that subcommittee, $19 billion may have been the amount
it's somewhere between 9 and 19.
Of. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Senator, always great to have you in focus. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.